There's no earthly way of knowing which direction we are going. It's time for the Scylla tunnel. As we all know, I like to jokingly call Jorge's version of the encounter with Scylla, which should also have Charybdis, the Scylla tunnel, because he clearly sets it, as could be told by the soundscape and the way the song goes, in some sort of tunnel, as opposed to the way the encounter goes in the Odyssey, which is Scylla and Charybdis are on either side of an extremely narrow strait with very high cliff faces. It's said to be so narrow that one could shoot an arrow from a bow from one side to the other. That's literally only about how wide it is. So, as we say, it's the case of you can't try to ford the middle and avoid either side. You've got to choose your lesser of two evils. This is your no-win scenario, your Kobayashi Maru. And Odysseus makes what everyone would say is the logical and the smart choice of going through Scylla. Now, again, in the Odyssey, the other thing to remember is that the sailing is incredibly difficult. Bronze Age, nascent naval technology. Most of the time, we understand that the Greeks were trying to sail almost always within sight of some kind of coastline, and they really didn't like to sail at night if they didn't have to. So not only are we in kind of uncharted waters, because Odysseus has never sailed through this strait before, but there's nowhere he can safely, dock his boat. Oh yeah, and the sailing itself is already pretty treacherous. Remember in the Odyssey that this entire series of encounters, both the Sirens coming up to the clashing rocks, the Strait of Scylla and Charybdis, all of this is happening back to back to back. They get no time to breathe between one and the other. So it's a whole lot being put upon them all at once. It's, you could say, an adrenaline rush. It's also reflective of the fact that Odysseus is a different kind of hero than he was prior to his descent into the underworld. In this case, he's a hero who is hell-bent on getting home and getting home as soon as possible, so he is speedrunning this part of the Odyssey. Again, he is trying to go as fast as possible. Now, also, we can sort of understand that these things, these obstacles, if you will, are clearly reasonably close to each other, that they can be encountered extremely quickly, one after another, which gives him and his men no chance for a break. This is all going to be a lead up into what happens with the mutiny, landing on the island of Helios's various herds, and everything that goes down there. But, of course, Jorge has changed that. Again, we are in the Scylla tunnel. That being said, I'm hyped to see people's Scylla designs, because look, I doubt I will get any, we will say, accurate to the ancient art versions of Scylla, and even those would differ slightly, but Scylla is known to be a top half of a woman, the bottom half is 6 snarling dogs. Of what breed, I have no idea. Take your pick. I like to imagine one day someone will draw it with 6 snorting pegs, just for the hilarity of it all. And in some cases, she did seem to also have some kind of serpentine tail possibly behind her. But it is also noted that Scylla was hanging out, in the ancient sources at least, high up in the cliffs. She wasn't down on the water level, she was up high, because these, even though they were 6 snarling dogs, had freakishly long necks, would swoop down, go jump, and lift them back up. Absolute horror movie shit. But I am curious to see people's Scylla designs. This is where people could really lean into the horror of it all, because the song is designed to play out almost a bit like a horror movie, so it makes complete sense. Lean into the wild designs. Let loose the animation, inspiration, and imagination, especially when you start doing the initial of Scylla's greetings with the hello, I'm sure, to then trying to reveal whatever the more monstrous look is going to be, so I'm excited. Now, I do only have 3 different Scylla animatics, so I'm sure, guys, I'm sure there will be ones that are missed that you wish I had on here. Again, when I'm finished with this initial list, I will open myself up to potential recommendations, so hold your horses, or your dogs. But I have, is it Ani Tigerfly or is it Annie Tigerfly? I want to say Ani. This is an artist whose name I think I have seen brought up before, but whose work I don't recall seeing. We have Cyro, pronunciation help me. I want to say Cyro, but part of me also thinks maybe it's Cyril. I don't know, man, I'm dying. And we have Gigi, because of course we have Gigi. But Annie Tigerfly, Annie Tigerfly's got one hell of a thumbnail. I'm gonna put that in there first. So I am intrigued. I'm terrified. I see something that looks almost lupine. Annie. or Ani, did you give me some dog heads for this? Warning, blood, gore, horror, a bit. Sounds about right. Ah, is that the Palate's head ribbon thing?
The lair of Scylla.
Yep. Scary Scylla tunnel.
This is our only way home.
The skulls. Oh?
You're quiet today.
Deep down. Not much to say. Deep down. You hide a reason for shears.
Hiding Scylla in the dark is really cool. Blood on the deck still. From the sirens, I'm assuming. Keeping the timeline crunched. Nice.
Leaving them feeling betrayed. Breaking the bonds that you've made.
I'm so sorry.
Ooh.
There is no
That
price
mouth.
Forgive me.
Oof.
both know what it takes to survive.
Oh, I love that. And then making it so it's in Odysseus' mind's eye. He's already seeing Eurylochus, and we're saying this is how Odysseus feels. He feels betrayed. But also at the same time, in her smashing Eurylochus, it's you're the betrayer as well. And that image of Scylla behind Eurylochus is that mouth. I see you with that mouth. That mouth is something and a half. Also, I'm liking that I think I see a Eurylochus who might actually have a little bit of hair. Now, it's still pretty buzzed, but it's not like a full cue ball buzz cut. There might be some hair on this Eurylochus, which I like. It's also a very, sketchy style, as I like to call it. Like, lots of strokes. Almost like real quick pen marks, brush strokes, if you will, and I quite like it. I'm a fan of the sketchy styles because I can't do clean line art to save my life, so I'm a little biased there. He totally... Okay, I'm gonna date myself. His hair for a second gave me much shorter. It is not as dramatic as this, but kind of Vash the Stampede from Trigun. I'm dating myself so severely. But that's sort of what his particular hairstyle looked. I kind of love it. I'm not mad. I'm just kind of pleased to see a Eurylochus who doesn't have the fully shaved buzz cut cue ball look. It's nice to see something different. I love this.
Light up 6 torches.
The gill. Oh, I saw those eyes and the flash of yellow of the torch. Oh, look at that. The one bit of color that's very pale yellow.
Hello.
Oh my god. Holy shit, Ani. First off, hello to my dogs. Thank you. I'm really pleased that somebody went for the dogs. A lot more modern interpretations seem to go for a far more serpentine angle. You really went for it with the dogs. I mean, they look like snarling wolves, which I'm totally okay with. Again, I don't really think we have any kind of idea as to what kind of breed this could have possibly been. So you get so much room to play. And again, the look of Scylla, just the top half is terrifying. The way you come in with the eyes open and you watch the pupils go down to pinpricks. They're yellow, they're reflecting that light, they're becoming alert, they're laser focused on what they want. Also, it looks like you've got the way that one of the heads of these dogs kind of moved in like this. It tells you they've got these long necks, which again was sort of part of the thing, which I mean, again, makes her extra terrifying because you're just like, what? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean a dog with a long neck? Okay, I did not sign up for a giraffe meeting a dog. What happened here? And this movement and the way that then Ani, you push through the space. Again, good use of the Z-axis, create this sense of 3D space. We're pushing in past all these people who are flying past the camera to get to Odysseus, who's looking down, and it's like he's timing. He's timing the moment when he's ready to get them to start moving. I like that a lot, because it doesn't just give the moment to Scylla. It shows you that this is not just about the reveal of Scylla, it's about continuing the story that's going on. And that's such a great thought, and reversing the line art here, or not even fully reversing it, but really leaning into the idea of the dark background and the lighter line work, and playing with who's got lighter or darker line work going on. There's just some really great movement and things being done in subtle value variations. So value being your light versus your dark, because obviously with the exception of that yellow, which in the case of the torches at times is pretty pale, other times gets a little more saturated. This is all in black and white, or grayscale if you will, so we're talking values, we're not really talking hue. There's wow, that's horrifying. Like, damn, you heard the horror angle calling and you went for it. Amazing. Oh my god, yeah, it's wrapping around. Oh my god. Oh, and I love that. I think that is supposed to be Odysseus maybe back there, since you had him kind of at the back of the ship. He's playing the pilot. He's essentially pulling the rudimentary rudder they essentially had, which was how they kind of moved around when you're not, in addition to the oars and the sail. Very nice bit. And also these dogs are about to tear this dude in half, aren't they? Damn. Love it. Like, I love it. I'm just in awe at how much is going on here, and how much this line style that Ani has, that you have, Ani, really lends itself well to how much dynamic shit is going on here, because it does feel like stuff is constantly in motion, but there's a messiness to it, and I don't mean that as a criticism. I actually mean that as a compliment here, because that kind of messiness fits with the chaotic nature of the scene. Oh my. She just opened up her mouth and body. That mouth got huge and terrifying. I'm not gonna lie, gave me very much the vibes of Gluttony from Full Metal Alchemist, with the way that the mouth like opened, kind of, oh. Again, the horror angle, so strong with this one. So strong with this one. And it's quick. Oh. Wow, so Eurylochus lives because someone pushed him out of the way. Yeah, and out of the tunnel they come. Oh, blood on the ship. Oh, that's interesting, because we're giving even more.
We are the same, you and I.
Her eyes behind Odysseus, but now he's in the light. He knows what's coming. But again, having someone push Eurylochus out of the way. Oh, there's a pale yellow around the sun there too. That's super nice. Wow, this image of Scylla is something and a half, and I say that as a compliment. Holding onto the heads. That is wild. Wow, Ani, I can see why you got recommended for Scylla, because I think it was definitely your Scylla that got recommended. Eurylochus being pushed out of the way, because we're leading into the mutiny, and him feeling this extra sense of fury at what Odysseus has done. Because, again, we're creating these counterpoints between who opened, I opened the windbag when you were asleep because I doubted you, but he did not consciously think it was going to be something that would lead to the deaths of many people, except it blows them off course and they have their encounter with Poseidon. In Epic, because of course in the Odyssey it is multiple people who open the windbag, because one, the windbag is actually huge. Like, it's not this tiny little thing you hold at your hip, it's a massive thing that needs to be strapped down on the ship, and we never specify who opens it. But in Epic we've made it Eurylochus, which leads into this, the difference being that Odysseus willingly went in knowing 6 people are going to die. Which, of course, again, the way it plays out in the Odyssey, the men are horrified and disturbed by what happens, but when, you've got Charybdis on the other side, who they almost bump into, they kind of shake it off reasonably quickly, because again, there's this understanding that the sea is dangerous, and there's a lot of shit going on in there that they don't know about. The sea scared them so much, the idea that a monster's hanging here, whether or not Odysseus knew about it, it's like they don't even have time to consider that, and they would accept it. But ooh, Oh, so many good things, and a lot of things that would happen really quickly in the animation, like just to give you the impression and then moving on. You don't get a chance to breathe. I think there's far more sense of urgency in the way that Ani animated this than is necessarily in the song itself, because in the song itself, yes, we're listening to Scylla, I mean, belt out beautifully over top of this. Again, the singer for Scylla is... Ooh. Oh, it's so good. I love the voice. It's part of why, even though I do laugh at this song, and there's many things about it in terms of the presentation of the encounter that I wish were different, I don't knock the music and I don't knock the singer, because it's really well done. But because there's so much focus on Scylla, and because there's not that much sound design going on outside of that and the kind of roars of the other heads, the chaotic nature is very much up to the animator to create. And Ani Tigerfly, the chaos, the fear, the sense of urgency, what's the word I'm looking for? The inevitable, yet how am I going to survive this? Like, it's sort of, you're in the heat of a battle in the moment. Like, just the tone and that sense of my heart rate's getting up, and the pressure and the tension is so well done in the way that Ani moves through space, again, using that Z-axis so well, has things moving at different times, and the inclusion of little pops of color. Again, predominantly yellow for the torches, for the eyes, that light being reflected, and the red of the blood. It's such a good touch. And this design for Scylla was wild. Wild shit. And again, always bonus kudo points for doing the dog heads. We always get brownie points for doing them accurate to the ancient mythology and the ancient artistic or mythological representations. Love it. Okay, so next we have Cyro. I really need help on the pronunciation here. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to be doing that I. It's freaking me out a little. Now this one also has a pretty intense thumbnail, not gonna lie. Not quite as unnerving as Ani Tigerfly's, but intense. I mean, I expect nothing less. I'm always ready for intense. And the first frame gives me a warning for flashing lights, mild gore, and horror. Again, this feels very in line. And I think there are some eyes that are peeking at me through the back of this, which is admittedly extremely unnerving. Excellent. Coming up to our scary Wonka cave. Oh, nice. Did you see how that transition was done? You use something in the foreground to basically do a wipe transition. In this case, it's to wipe from the daylight to where in the cave, not so much light. I was going to say that better, but English failed me. It's fine. I'm now curious. Continue. Oh, a lot of fast transitions here. Ooh.
You're quiet today.
Under the water. Almost looks like an octopus.
Not much to say.
Love the rowing. There's a kind of rhythm you could do. There's a lot of transitions going on here. Oh. Leaning much... Ooh. Okay, first off, love that bit of that beat that we hear. And Odysseus doing the eye widening, like, what the fuck? And then we see Scylla kind of in the background here and giving me, her mouth is giving me Kim Possible mouth. And I say that, again, that's not a critique, but that was the famous thing of Kim Possible, was always the line with the upper lip and just sort of a little bit for the lower lip. I kind of love it, not gonna lie. Okay. Sorry. If you're ready to see how my ADHD brain works, this then makes me go to Kim Possible, the dun 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 dun, you know, the phone. Everybody knew that sound. But it then makes me think of, if anybody knows the third Jurassic Park movie, not the Jurassic World nonsense, the third Jurassic Park movie. There is a tone for a phone that is da 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 da, and some dude gets eaten and you can hear the fucking like sat phone ringing that. And I'm just like, can you just imagine Scylla hanging around and then it's da 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 da, and that's where you have to try to find. Sorry, I'm sorry. My brain just went to 3 different places that were totally inappropriate just because of how you draw a mouth.
ADHD is fun, guys. Anywho.
There's a lot of transitions going on about here, like really quick transitions. Instead of doing hard cuts, we've got zoom-ins, we've got wipes, we've got all sorts of stuff going on here, moving really quickly between different slates, you could say.
Breaking the bonds that you've made.
I'm so sorry.
Ooh, the crew looking back like, did they hear that?
Forgive me.
We both know what it
Love.
Full speed.
Okay, you are cooking on this look, on the way you're drawing Scylla right now, because keeping Scylla almost entirely in shadow and essentially using, while it could be done if you were to say had black paper and used a white pencil or something, I almost imagine you color everything like a white piece of paper, color it all in black, and then start using an eraser tool to like carve out. It's like as they would say, like drawing and painting like you're a sculptor, where it's like you're carving out bits. I love the way that's being done. Again, that wonderful split screen to give me Odysseus on one side and Scylla on the other, but Odysseus being shown predominantly in light. Scylla isn't dark, and we're only carving out pieces of her features. This is very cool. Also, she's kind of gorgeous. Oh, those eyes. Ooh, again, how many times have I talked about putting us in a low angle? And in that case, that was an extreme close-up low angle. So an extreme close-up, we are looking at only this bit of Odysseus' face. We're in on it. And we're looking up at him because he's looking down at us and he's looking down at the torches. So we know he's about to do something where he's essentially about to be the predator, be the aggressor. He's the guy in power. He's the one who's going to do something that is likely going to cause harm to somebody else. But it briefly puts us in the position of, oh shit, I feel in danger. Again, camera angles, the art of filmmaking and filmic storytelling. The camera does so much for you.
Light up 6 torches.
Not a lot of these transitions, they're like stretch blurs. So I mean, actually, I can't tell if they're fast blur wipes or if they're stretch blur wipes. So a stretch blur wipe is you take the image and you literally you expand and bring and contract, but you're doing it in such a way that it looks like just horizontal lines, or you're doing a flat fast blur wipe where you're pushing the image out. I can't tell between the two which it is, but there's a lot of them. Oh, I liked that one. Ooh, the bit of color.
Something.
Oh, and here he is standing in front of Odysseus. Hello. Oh my god. Okay. First off, several things. One, what do you mean? She put her head back and looked at me like this. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? Oh my god, that was horrible. I mean, that's just unnerving to start with, but then immediately the neck starts expanding. What do you mean? What do you mean? That's horrifying. That's horrifying. 2, the flash to Penelope, and of course baby Telemachus, because Telemachus in his mind is always, you know, an infant or maybe a toddler at most, not even. So a baby, basically. Love that flash to then hit, you know, it's his resolve tightening, even though this is horrifying and he knows it's going to be terrible. I mean, there's no way it's not going to be terrible. And then finally, you gave us only a little bit of the transformation before we are then taken away. And all we see is kind of the shadow of what Scylla is, you know, turning into. And we're seeing the reaction of the men. That is such smart filmmaking. That is like a note out of fucking Spielberg. Now look, we all know Spielberg has made some incredible films where creatures are essentially the antagonists. They are not always the villain. Actually, most of the time they're not, which is fascinating when let's take 2 of his biggest films in that category, which would be Jaws and Jurassic Park. In the case of Jaws, 1, the shark is not the villain. The shark is the antagonist. Absolutely. Shark is gonna shark. It literally does nothing more than shark is gonna shark. The true villain is the mayor. In case you didn't know, the actual villain is the mayor. But I'm sure a lot of people know that the filmmaking experience of Jaws was a bit of a nightmare. They had so many problems, one big thing being technical difficulties with the shark. So the reason you don't see the shark a lot in that film is because they literally couldn't get it to work. So what did Spielberg do? He improvised. And also, in addition, he had the amazing theme by John Williams, 2 notes, and you have one of the most iconic, you know, film scores in all history. Point blank period. Let's make no bones about it. But the fact that so much of the time, let's take, for example, one of the deaths in Jaws. I mean, the first one, a young girl, we never see the shark at all. It's all under the water, but she's screaming and she's crying. She's being pulled around and we're all like, what the fuck is happening? Go to the next death, which is a young boy, Alex Kittner, and we see a bit of blood, we see some flailing, but we never see the shark. All we see are the reactions of other people who start panicking. The power of the shark is that we don't actually see it all that much. It creates a looming dread. It is a force of nature. Now, go again to, say, Jurassic Park. The opening of Jurassic Park is a masterclass in how to set a tone for you're about to be fucking afraid, and I'm not going to fully show you what's going to scare you, because it is them bringing in the raptors to the actual Jurassic Park, and it's at night. There's a bright spotlight, there's very harsh lighting, and we hear this screeching, that horrible raptor shriek that they designed, which is, I mean, bone-chilling, really. And we see everybody's really tense, very serious. Then there start to be problems. And they're like, no, get this in fast. We got to get this in. You've got the game warden who's phenomenal and just being like, you need to, like, let's get this shit done. He's very on edge. And when the dude with the gun is on edge in that way, I'm a little nervous. And then a dude falls, he gets caught, and then we just see him getting pulled in. They're shrieking. One guy's yelling, shoot! And they're trying to hold on to the guy. He's going, we're not seeing the raptors at all. I think we maybe get an eye. That's the most that we get. But it's just people's reactions. That is so powerful a tool. It's also, for example, why Ridley Scott in the original Alien movie, which, let's make no bones about it, is a horror movie that happens to be set in space. It's why you don't see the alien, even though the design for the alien, the xenomorph, is iconic, and pulling on all those H.R. Geiger designs was incredible. He knew, looking at the very tall dude in a suit they had, if people really see this in full, it's just a dude in a suit. So the power of the alien and a lot of the reactions to it is either in extreme close-ups, very quick glimpses, or people's reactions to it, because that is more powerful than anything else. And movies have, again, continued on this trend in so many different ways. Another good example you could go for would be something like the 1999 film The Mummy. The first guy who kind of gets killed by the mummy, first he gets his eyes and his tongue taken out. We sort of get a brief shot of the mummy coming back to life, but then we don't really see him moving or how he goes about things. All we see is the guy just being like, ah! And I'm like, it's powerful. Reactions can be more powerful than actually seeing the thing that's scaring them so many of the time. So I love that choice so much. I mean, also, yes, when you're drawing all this, and I'm sure your hand is cramping and like screaming at you to please stop, save me, it saves you a bit of having to animate all of that. But in a filmmaking, storytelling perspective, it's an incredibly smart tool because the audience's imagination is more powerful than anything you can put on screen in terms of what will scare them more. Good shit. The flashes are so good. Oh!
Run for your life!
Oh, okay, whoa, hold on. You did not just cook with that bit of animation that hard. Okay, yes, you did. Love that. We're using flashing, so we're getting glimpses of Scylla, and we're getting good looks at her, but they are pretty quick comparative to what we could be getting. And also all the heads kind of look like Scylla's. Why? But the zoom out of Odysseus' eye to him, and then we're transitioning through to the chomps and this is such good transition work and animation. I love it. Very fluid. Again, Z-axis, my beloved, you're doing great. It's like, you're doing great, sweetie. Oh my God. Oof, you're cooking. And I do like the flashes. The use of the flashes, very nice. Again, usually on beat. Great shit. Good editing. I love every time one of the heads does a chomp, there's a flash frame in there. And the flash frame does what essentially is there's an official term for it, but I'm forgetting what it's called. I call it a reverse. It essentially does an optical reverse. So we go from in comes the chomp and then reverse, everything goes black with only white line work, and then we're back to normal except the guy is gone. I like that. That bleeds in, again, to me, that gives such a good feel for what it was like when all of a sudden these guys are rowing in the Odyssey, and the next thing you know, hey, did you hear that? Whoa, where's Jimakhos going? Like, all of a sudden, all these hair legs being taken away, and it's like, what the fuck? What is this? Yes, Jimakhos. I made up a name. It's fine. I don't know. I tried. Okay, guys. Not my finest work. I like that a lot. It really, again, adds to the fear, how quick this is. It's a blink and you miss it moment, how really outclassed and outmatched they are. Oh, I'm so sorry, Bill. Did I mention my Bill? I'm sorry, Bill. And just, again, this adds to the terror of the moment and that there's nothing they can do. Again, you can't fight Scylla. You try to survive, Scylla. That's always the thing with the Scylla and Charybdis route. You don't fight either of them because you can't. You try to make it through. You just try to survive. And poor Eurylochus. Ooh, those eyes. Ooh. First off, high thumbnail shot. I see you. 2, love that bit. Eurylochus looks over, he sees Odysseus, Odysseus turns, we flash to Scylla, back to Odysseus, because this is what he's seeing. And this is also emphasizing, Cyril has caught on to, again, what Jorge is trying to do here, the idea that Odysseus has become a monster. Again, in the context of how these encounters go, he's not monstrous. Like, again, in the Odyssey, the men don't even come at him for the whole thing with Scylla, because the sea is terrifying. The idea that whether or not Odysseus knew, I mean, in their mind, it would have been totally plausible that Odysseus had no idea what was going on. And even if they did, he would say, well, it was either that or we all die because of that whirlpool over there. They'd be fine. They only start getting mad when they're like, we want a break. Bro, we need to pit stop. We were pit stopping all the time in the front half. Why are we not pit stopping anymore? Like, what the fuck? I need a nap. But I love that because, you know, it's visually leaning into the theme. It's cueing the audience into what's supposed to be happening here. There's little bits of what I think I saw some chromatic aberration going on in there. Maybe, possibly. Cyril, am I right? I thought I saw some. Because I thought I saw some like blue pinks for like a brief moment. And obviously this has been all black and white, save for this beautiful orange glow we've got around the torches. Which actually, I will say, again, the glow effect of them is super nice. It's not necessarily very bright in that it changes the value. Because a lot of time when you add a glow effect in art, if you were to say take yellow and you add a glow effect atop it, it can sometimes blow out. So if you think of like blowing out a camera shot, if you blow out an image, the lights become white. They kind of go. It creates a nice glow, but tampering that down can also have the effect where the glow doesn't feel quite punchy the way you want it to. In this case, it's a very subtle glow. I don't know what layer mode you have it on, but it's super nice. I almost wanted to say you maybe have that on a lighten mode. I think that's what it's called, but I could be wrong. Regardless, it's beautiful and it's very soft. The glow is very soft in that it's not being done by a hard brush. It's being done by a very soft, almost airbrush. So it doesn't have any hard edges, but it looks so nice because it adds also to the sense of if you've ever had a glare on like a computer screen, that hazy glow that can happen makes it hard to see and it adds to the disadvantage that you're at. It's good shit going on here. Oof, I love the flash frames so much. The movement. Those eyes. Oh, dude, holding the torch, you're dead. Oh, God. Wow. I like how so much of this was done from the perspective of Eurylochus. Oh, okay, Scylla. Climb on back in your scary cave. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. 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 Very dark. And again, so many of these songs have such a strong final push that's where like the animators always seem to pop off in the final push because it's like it's the chance to really show off. They have very strong outros. And I was saying, as I was saying when it was ending, so much of this feels like it's really from the perspective of Eurylochus. It's Eurylochus experiencing Scylla. Because again, we're leading into the mutiny. Putting this in the psychology and sort of the slightly more in the perspective of Eurylochus is really smart filmmaking narrative choice here from a visual standpoint, because we're going to understand where he's coming from when he's about to turn on Odysseus, the guy he was just apologizing to, the guy that's his king, his brother-in-law, even though of course the musical never, it obliquely makes reference to it into the you're like a brother I could never do without, but it doesn't he wouldn't say you're like the brother, he'd say you are the brother I could never do without, because at that point they're, you know, related through marriage. But regardless, having it in Eurylochus's perspective is so good, because Odysseus, while this is going to be horrible and terrifying, knew this was coming. Eurylochus didn't. So again, the sense of being blindsided by the shit, especially with a lot of the flash frames when the little Scylla heads are going chomp chomp om nom, adds to that sense of being blindsided and shit is happening so fast and you're just like, what? And that last dude who got hit where he's like, no, I'm coming for you. And then we just see him with the dead eye look. Oh. You have that kind of dead eye doll kind of like look down so well, and it's really unnerving. And it's really fucking good. Again, thus far, everybody can take their flowers. Good God, that was horrifying. Extremely well done. Hi guys, editing Matt here. Probably wondering, what about Gigi? Where's Gigi? You promised me Gigi. Well, there are some things that happen in Gigi's animatic that gave me such a reaction, rather like with Neil's ruthlessness, where I was apparently a joke to Neil Illustrator. In this case, Gigi did something that, due to my reaction, I felt needed its own video. It felt only right, so you're gonna have to wait for that one. Because I'm not necessarily ruthless, but I may be a monster.